Hello and welcome to this edition of Beyond the Politics, our regular examination of the events happening right here in the Quinte region and the people who work so hard behind the scenes to make it all happen. I'm your host, Paul Martin. Joining me, the President and CEO of Loyalist College, Mr. Mark Kirkpatrick.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Yeah. So many exciting things happen, and we're going to get into some of the nuts and bolts stuff in a minute. But first, of course, one of the reasons we wanted to have you back now, not only celebrating pretty much around the first year of your anniversary as the President and CEO, but also time to warm up for one of the most joyous events in the entire Quinte region for the summer, which is Convocation at Loyalist. So talk about, for people who haven't been and for people who haven't experienced the magic of this event, talk about what it means, how many people are involved, and what it means especially for you as the President and the person who oversees this at the college.
Well, I'll tell you, just as the President, it's a great privilege. It's one thing to actively be there and watch a convocation. It's another thing to actually be there and participate and actually see those faces coming across the stage. It's something that I didn't really expect to be as powerful as it was, and it really is, and so I'm really looking forward to it. So in Belleville, we'll run, starting June 4th, we'll run 8 convocations, probably in the neighborhood of 3,000 graduates. And then we get a week or two off, and then I head off to Toronto and I do another 3 or 4 convocations, and we graduate another 1,700 students.
New programs are added, programs are tailored, and partnerships are formed. There's that partnership that's happened with the city about the nursing program for people to get a partial subsidy and sponsorship. They go there and then they serve locally. What has it been like working with the city with that, and then for this first graduating year program of a 4-year nursing program to come from Loyalist? How special is it to see that all coming together?
It's really special, and I think it demonstrates a few things. One, where students study, they want to stay. Mm-hmm. They get comfortable. So I was talking to Stacey Daub the other day about nursing and the hiring that they did. So last year, I think they hired 14, I might be off 1 or 2, but they hired 14 new graduates. Mm-hmm. Well, 2 came from the Loyalist Brock program. Mm-hmm. Since Belleville's put forward this work and stay grant, plus the fact that we're graduating folks, this year they'll be graduating 25 Loyalist nurses, period. Like just, and well over 30. So it's not just that, I guess it just demonstrates this program works. Mm-hmm. The fact that you can train nurses here, that there's a financial incentive that the city supports to keep them here.
So you said graduate, you mean hiring?
They've been hired.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
So I think it's 25 have been hired so far to work just at Quinte Health. Mm-hmm. And those are Loyalist grads, sorry. Whereas last year, 14 total new graduates were hired. Mm-hmm. So it's a really good statement that these things work, and I think 11 of those were part of the Belleville program.
Let's talk about some excellence at Loyalist College. Of course, there's a lot. The recent success at the Skills Ontario competition. So Loyalist has students who compete in a number of different competitions, but they did exceptionally well in that one, and again got a chance to see that the education they're getting at Loyalist is top notch. Yeah.
So this year we elevated a bit. We've usually sent some pretty small teams. This year we sent, I think it was 31 students in 17 events. Which is way larger than we've ever sent. We also sent, I think, another 3 or 4 faculty to actually evaluate whether they want to send students next year. So the other thing that we did, which was kind of cool, is we actually ran it as a varsity experience. Mm-hmm. So it was really a team. So they actually got the whole rah-rah out the door and on the bus. They rode the varsity bus all the way to Toronto, and they all got their uniforms, so they all looked good, and they all really participated as a team. We came back with 3 medals, a gold and 2 others. The gold gets Seamus, will get to go to nationals. Mm-hmm. I think he's there shortly, which is phenomenal. It's the most we've ever pulled in a year, and I fully expect that we'll pull a lot more next year. And it's not just about the students. The thing people don't realize is this really is a sport. Mm-hmm. They all have coaches, and those coaches spend time after hours and working and practicing with their students and getting them prepped. And they put in a lot of hours, and then they're there to cheer them on when they're there. And so, really, really proud of that team.
Community, but at the nuts and bolts of it, there's of course the physical aspect of the Belleville campus, especially if some of it's still there, because a lot of it It's been a lot of work, and I assume, of course, trying to squeeze it in before convocation happens. So talk about some of the construction, because this has been a very active. You talked about there's no one construction season for Loyalist, but that's also because so much construction has happened.
Yeah, I've stopped using the word construction. I call it progress now, because construction's getting a bad rap where we are. But yeah, no, we're trying to get this institution back to where we think it provides the best services for our students in our communities, and so that just requires a lot of work. And so one of the big things that everybody's noticed in the last little while is the construction at the front. Long story short, I think most people realize the college is backwards. There's a long, when about 67 years ago, they thought the road was going to come in from the back of the campus, and so if you actually look at the back of the campus, it's very impressive compared to the front. So part of this work we've been doing is try to bring that same impressiveness to the front of the college, and so we're working on the entranceway from the roadway. We've also got this new big, we call it the LEAF project, but it's the entryway and athletics facility, which is a series of projects that's going to actually totally redesign the whole front of the building. So it's a new atrium, a brand new large gym, and lots of student spaces and all kinds of fun stuff that not only is very practical, but will also create a different impression when you come through the front door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, there's been some work, or we were talking before about work on residence buildings. Where does that stand? I mean, there are so many projects that are underway. Is it a challenge to balance them?
It is, because you still have to run classes, and you still have to run the business of the college. So, our new new restaurant's coming online in June 5th for convocation dinner. We just opened a whole bunch of series of spaces for a health center and a spa and a new culinary facility and a new mechatronics lab and a new a fail-safe maker space. So there's a lot going on. They're opening. From a residence perspective, we're mostly in the planning stages because it takes a long time. But we have got some plans in place to create another 40, 50 beds for this fall, so that'll be put in place for this campus. We've got housing in place for our Port Hope campus coming into this fall. And we're also working with our regional partners on housing too, which is going to be kind of cool if we can make it happen. Because, it's not always up to Belleville and us to find housing in this region. We need to find housing in other locations and support those other municipalities. So we're working really closely with them to see what we can figure out to make work with them as well.
So what can you say about the research that's being done there, and how much people might not think of Loyalist for research, but it's a major component for what you're doing?
Yeah, and so our research focuses on that small business side of things too, which is also unique for a lot of the tax and centers. So what we're trying to do is get these startup businesses and get them to a point where they can now take whatever process they have and make it financially and economically viable for them to go to market. That's what we really focus a lot of our research on. That speaks very well. And these tend to be people that are close to here, right? So this actually starts to drive new business and new industry when we can make these businesses successful. The nice thing about colleges is we don't own the IP. So if I was to work with you today and we were to do some research, when we're all done, we'd say, hey, great job, have your IP, away you go. Universities always own the IP. And so it really does give the ability for that business to really work with somebody that's going to help take them to the next level and not have that risk of losing that IP to somebody else.
And of course, just before we go to break, let's talk about the applied aspect of it and the importance of training. So many partnerships with local businesses. Like I said, it's a key aspect of that. But I want to give a shout out to the people at the Quinte Economic Development Commission and all the work they do through Elevate Plus. Sometimes it's just a very practical aspect. You have the technology there that's used for regular training and teaching. And so for a short-term program like Elevate Plus, which is you want to take people through for a 6-8 week period, give them the skills they need, and they have jobs by the end of it. That's another great example of both what Loyalist can do on an applied level, change people's lives literally in a 2-month period.
Yeah, no, it's. I've got another graduation at the end of the month. It's a phenomenal program. We always say that when you go to college, sometimes you're in your second career or your third career trying to do something else. These folks that come into Elevate are, into the third, fourth, fifth chance at life. A lot of these folks, for whatever reason in their lives, have not been dealt or made some bad decisions, and You know, the fact that they've decided to change their lives, and this literally is life-changing when they go through Elevate Plus and they can get a job at the end. I was talking to a student who graduated a year ago, and he's now a fork truck driver at JBS Foods, and he's now got a stable income. His family's now stabilized. He's got a relationship with his kids. Like, life is great.
But there are also other opportunities to do that. Is that something that, if that's worked on, can lead to that greater sense of mental integration, where people immediately think of Loyalist as being part of Belleville, Quinte, West Prince Edward County, Hastings County?
Yeah, but I'll say this, is we have a tremendous number of partnerships, and we're growing, and so we're very open to any partnership that makes sense for both parties, where we can succeed. That's really what we're trying to do. And so, you know, someone joked with me, "You're always open to a discussion." I go, "Yeah, because we don't know where it's going to lead." And so we've created some really creative things. But you're right, the more that we partner with more diverse groups of people in the city and the region, the better we'll be.
Any personal plans for the summer? So how does Mark Kirkpatrick take what little time you have over the summer and recharge?
Hopefully this year we're just going to take some time. I'm going to shut off the phone and shut off the computer.
What's that like?
I don't know. Never done it before. So I'm sure I will go through some withdrawal. My poor wife will have to deal with that. But no, this year I've had the fortune to hire a really good executive team, which we hadn't had, and so I feel like I can get away and I can just shut everything off and just spend some quality time with my family and just recharge a little bit.
You mentioned Loyalist's involvement in the Quinte International Air Show, and of course Loyalist has an involvement in many events in the community. How great is it to see that and get a chance to experience it, not just as someone who helps make it happen, but as a spectator? Like, if you go to the air show, you're not there as the president of Loyalist College. You're there to take in the air show. Yeah, no,
the air show's great. A lot of the cultural events that go on and in town that I go to are great. It's just nice to be part of the community. And you know, and you're right, I'm not there as the president, although surprisingly some few folks recognize me now, but you're there just being able to sit back and say, you know what, we may have had an inkling or a little wee bit of something that helped make this great, and you take a great sense of pride in that.
So where does it go from here? In terms of, how do we get people to think of Loyalist more as part of the community?
Well, I think part of this is we still have some work to get people on campus. The biggest issue for us is to get people on campus. I think once this, in a year from now, when the big front construction all finishes up, you'll see us starting to run more open houses, more activities where you can come see the campus and see what's going on. We've got the restaurant that's going to be opening up, which I think will get people on campus. We're having our spa, our spa's up and running. You know, and we just want to run more and more activities and bring the people onto the campus and get them to see what it is we do. And you know that we talked earlier about the young kids in grade 7 and 8 coming on campus. They go back and they tell their parents. And so it's all word of mouth. And that's why we give every student a red hoodie when they start, so that when they walk around campus, they see Loyalist all the time. And so we just keep trying to do things well. We try to make sure we don't do things that impact in a negative way our community, but only things that add value.
Well, we welcome everyone to Loyalist College for that, and especially, of course, for the upcoming convocation. You've been watching Beyond the Politics.